Elaine. Hey,
Thanks,
Elaine.
Elaine. 1 second. We'll let Commissioner Ramada get herself together here before we begin. All set? Okay. Good evening. I'd like to call to order the Zoning Board of Appeals meeting for May 21st, 2024. Okay, I'd like to go ahead and start. We have a public hearing on the agenda. If I could get Secretary Smith to read the legal notice, please.
All right. Here to here, right, or this?
Here to here.
All right.
So those two paragraphs.
The Rocky Hill Zoning Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, May 21st, 2024, beginning at 7 p.m. in the council room of the Rocky Hill Community Center, 761 Old Main Street, Rocky Hill, Connecticut, 06067, to consider the following. A, Appeal 2024-01, George Hallahan, requesting a variance from the requirements of the Rocky Hill Zoning Regulations Section 3, height and area requirements to allow for a reduction of minimum rear yard setback from 25 feet to 3 feet, and to allow for maximum building coverage to exceed the required 20% to 26.5%. And 8.B.2.5, yard setback exceptions, fences, and walls. A fence or wall, including any necessary retaining wall, may be built within a yard setback area in any residence district, provided that such fence or wall is less than 6 feet in height, measured above the highest finished grade abutting the fence or wall, to allow for a fence 8 feet in height for property located at 11 Henry Street in an R20 zoning district, ID number 09-561.
Thank you. Okay, I'd like to start off this with stating that any decision of this board can be taken to Superior Court within 15 days. At this point, I'd like to have the applicant come up, please. Yes, go ahead, Ben.
I would just like to have entered into the record, our office received an email regarding this application yesterday, so I would just want to pass that out to you all and the applicant.
Okay, thank you.
Trying to be helpful.
Okay, if we go ahead and have the applicant step up, please. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Could you state your name and address for the record, please?
Yes.
Thank you.
My name is John Sear, 33 Collier Avenue in Bristol, Connecticut. I work for Flynn and Sear Land Surveying. I'm a co-owner since 1991. I was hired to do the work for George Hallahan. I'm not sure if you want me to start now or you want me to...
Yeah, let's go ahead and jump in and state what the hardship is, what has been done, what, you know, because I do know that this property has been blighted by the town for certain items, and then obviously come into the discovery of additional items that are not up to code.
Yep.
Okay? So I would like to say, excuse me, I would like to hear why this was done without permits, you know, or anything like that, and what is the reasoning behind it. So the applicant needs to establish his hardship.
Okay. I know in 2019, he did work and he had a property survey done with the detached garage. He was doing some improvements at the time. I believe the plan was done by Walter Rickey here in Rocky Hill. surveyor I used to work with. But I don't know if it was explained to my applicant that he could not connect the house to the garage. I'm not sure about that. I was asked to do an existing conditions survey, what exists now. And so when I did do the survey, I did find that the rear of the garage was too close to the side yard,
Okay.
or the rear yard, I'm sorry. Right, the rear yard. So that's when we sat down with the plan and looked at it, and he explained to me why he did what he did. So in connecting the garage to the house, that was for his mom, because she would have to park in the garage, get out of the garage, walk around, or walk through the doorway, through the elements, and then go into the house. And she's aging, she's doing okay, but, and, she does have lupus. So I know with that condition, you can't be exposed to the elements, you can't go outside, you do have.
May I ask a question?
Sure. If you could just state your name and address for the record, please? Thank you.
Hallahan, one of the owners of the house. Who's Gail at 28 Asheville? Is she here?
No, this is an email we received from her. She is, oh, I'm sorry, she is here.
What garbage are you talking about? I'm always cleaning up.
Hey, excuse me, Mr. Halloran?
I didn't
You
know.
can't address,
I see
You-
garbage,
right,
No.
but no.
Why you adjust that?
You can't address the members in the audience. You have to address us.
okay. All right.
Okay.
Can I ask you a question? She's saying there's garbage and stuff back there. There's nothing back there. I clean up all the time back there.
Well, that's, that's
No,
something that
you're right.
we just need to, yeah.
It just aggravates me.
I understand that, but we're trying to get through this process,
Okay,
okay?
all right, so-
We need to understand, excuse me, why, okay? And if there is a legitimate hardship with this, because obviously you're coming to,
Yeah.
coming to us now after the fact.
Okay, I didn't know. Can I explain the rest of it? I'll start from the real quick beginning, because I know you have time. I don't have a lot of time. All right. If I can explain this right, the hallway, as he had said, in the beginning, was an argument going on. The gentleman, Steve, is the one who started all this back then in 2019.
Could you just speak into the microphone first, please? Thank you.
The gentleman, Steve, on the board here, not the board, I'm sorry, building department, had, there was an argument going back and forth verbally, saying that, at first I can put the garage attached to the wall, the house. And then he changed his mind.
You fire rated it.
Right, and I fire rated it for that purpose. And then there was an argument for some reason. I got mad, and I said, what's going on here? My mother can't, there was a step, there used to be a step there too, so I didn't want her to fall anymore. She's had trouble walking for a few years now. So anyways, I got mad, and I says, you know what, I'm upset. This is not right. I argued about it. And then Mr. Ritchie was at the time a surveyor, did it 3 times. Cost me 3 times to get this thing, try to get it rectified. So, at first they said you have to put a little roof on it, from the garage to the house. A little roof, and it has to be open outside. I go, that's stupid, all the rain and everything and the ice. My mother falls, that's it, it's all over with. She's 88 years old now. And besides lupus, okay, so that's that part. The fence man, I have police reports here from 2019, and I even got one picture, I forgot to give it to you guys, what's over there. We had coyotes, and the guy next door who passed away, Ed, was shooting the animals in his yard, and that's where my fence is now. I brought it up to 8 feet back then. I thought I had a permit. The gentlemen that had did it, one of them killed themselves. So I find out that there's no permit. So anyways, I had it up to 8 feet, because I've had trouble with 2 things, and I've had police reports. We had one a couple weeks ago. People trying to hop the fence and get into my yard besides the yard next door. Some idiot behind me had chopped the lady's clothesline off 2 weeks ago, starting trouble. So now that my fence is up to 8 foot, I feel safer, stuff like that. That's why I left it that way, and I have less problems, because I'm nervous. There's a lot of people like to start trouble, and I'm sick of it. So I left the fence that way. That's why the fence is like that. And what else? Recently, okay, I didn't think, it's my fault, okay? I got a permit for the garage and everything else. I didn't realize, ma'am, I made a mistake, that the shed okay? Half of it was up there. It was on the side of the house, which I have a picture of it. It was a long shed, okay? But it was taking up most of the backyard, there's not much left. So what I ended up doing, and I thought since I have, between the new shed I just recently built, a little half of one, I connected it to the other one, and now it's the same size as the shed that used to be in the yard back in the few years ago. So I did that, and I honestly did not think, I'm not standing there saying, oh, I did this, you know. I honestly didn't know I had to do that. And the last thing is the patio off my room there. My mother has to stand at the doorway. It's hard to say, but the dog is on her way out too. And she has to stand there and it's always raining and everything else, and the dog won't go out anymore. She's on her way out too. And so I had a little roof put on and little side windows to keep it kind of enclosed, and she goes in there instead of outside because she can't walk anymore. She's got a broken hip. It's bad. I don't mean to harp on you about animals, stuff like that. So I figured in my mind, which I didn't know, I learned quite a few lessons here, quite a few, that I thought since the roof, since the patio was there already, I thought it was okay to put a roof on it. I didn't know that. So I'm here for the variances, and I hope to God that you know, I've always helped my neighbors, I chop the trees around and stuff, or whatever, to keep them away from the fence. You know, I always pick up, if there's any garbage, I can't see why, but, you know, I'm very clean about that, I'm anal. I always help all my neighbors as best I can, you know? There's nothing, everything, how you say, back about, probably a year and a half ago when those pictures were, yeah, I had some cars, they're my hobbies, but I retired about 2.5 years ago, and I had, 9 cars come from the garage with me. They were mine, okay, up in Cromwell, and I brought them home, and I put them in the backyard. And I had a couple up front, but they're all left, what's left. I got rid of 4 cars. I'm almost done, you know, because of my health. They're hobbies, and I'm trying to finish them so I can get some more money to finish the house. But they're almost gone now. I did a big cleanup. You know, but I didn't leave them all over the yard and, you know, make it look like a junkyard. So, on that part, is there anything else? I'm sorry. What was the other thing? The roof, the hallway, the shed?
I think the main question was about the permits, right? Why wouldn't-
Yeah, so basically, there were no permits. Was there a permit pulled for the fence initially?
No, but something like a fence, unless you were coming in to seek a variance for one over 6 feet in height or something like that, you wouldn't necessarily need a building permit or zoning permit for a fence.
But if it's over 6 feet,
You need a
you
variance.
need a variance.
Right.
Right, I didn't know that.
See, that's,
Yeah.
I didn't know that, I'm sorry.
And we do have the setbacks. We do have, so we don't have 0 lot lines here. So there has to be so much,
Sorry, 0 what?
0 lot lines.
You have to have the space.
Yes, you have to have a
Oh,
space
it's
between
on
you and
short.
your neighbor. You're very, very short
Right,
in the back.
11%. And I didn't know that until this year. I've had
how
that.
many feet, how many feet? Not 11%. I'd like to know how many feet.
He is 3.8 feet
Yeah.
to the rear yard.
Yeah, that's beyond close, you know. I mean, it's
That was when he connected, he moved.
connected the garage,
Yeah,
or the shed.
The shed space, he moved it behind the garage, and that made that connected to the house.
Correct. Yeah,
Right
there's
behind.
just nonconformity. I'm going to be honest, there's just nonconformity everywhere when we're looking at this. What I'd like to do right now is I want to open it up to the commissioners to ask questions, and then we'll come back,
Okay.
okay? Commissioner Roger?
Yeah, just a couple questions and then a comment.
Speak into the microphone.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Too relaxed today. A couple questions and then a comment. So I understand that, you know, there's a lot going on in your life, and with your mom, I empathize with that. However, I mean, were the contractors licensed that were doing this work? Because if you're finding out after the fact that no permits were pulled, it leads into question if you use, you know, licensed contractors or not to do that. They should know, and they should post them when they're doing the work. So that's the question. The comment is, the reason why we're kind of focusing on the permits and the structures that were built and even the fencing is quite simply, if they're not built to code properly, they are a fire hazard. So looking, and I've driven by the property, and I've seen some of the neighboring houses, and they are fairly close together. There's a lot of wooded area. God forbid, I hope it doesn't happen, but if there were to be a fire on your property, it could quite easily engulf other properties nearby as a result of not being within the building codes and being within the property line. So, back to my initial question, were the contractors licensed or not? Were they insured?
The fence guy who killed himself, they had licenses, okay? They committed suicide, but they said to me that they had a permit. I never asked for it.
You ever saw one posted on your property at all? Okay.
No,
Well-
no.
Originally, were you doing a 6-foot fence or an 8-foot fence?
Because of the animals and stuff, I've had break-ins in the yard. I've had kids back then, about 7, 8 years ago, come over the fence, start smashing my cars, and I got mad, so I says, I can't deal with this anymore. I couldn't keep them out of the yard.
He's got a picture that I don't know if he can show it to you, but he had some foxes living under that shed
I
before
got,
he moved
yeah,
it.
just one, I didn't realize.
And he cares enough about animals, maybe too much, but that he doesn't want to just kill them or whatever. But
They're all over the place.
but
There's
he
6.
does-
Yes.
Is that really a hardship,
Unfortunately,
though?
It's not a hardship.
yeah,
That's
No, it's
not a
not. I just
hardship.
wanted to tell you why I did that.
yeah, let's
They
go
were
ahead
living
and,
under-
let,
in his house with.
Right.
And he had his
Understood.
his
We've
dog
got to
out.
stick to the facts, though.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Okay.
And I'm sorry, sir, the first question that you wanted me to answer was the fence?
It was more about the contractors being
Okay, the
licensed to
second
pull
contractor,
permits.
well, he is a contractor, but, and honestly, he asked me about the roof and stuff, and I says, no, I don't need a permit for that. I said no. I didn't know. Now I know. I learned a hard lesson right now. What I'm really upset about, but I guess you had to do what you had to do, was shut my solar off, and that cost us quite a bit of money. We lost quite a bit of money last month. That hurt us bad.
Yeah, well, yeah, we can't discuss anything with
No,
the
I know,
solar.
I'm
We
just
had
saying.
nothing to do with that. So that's
did.
between you and the
Oh.
town, I don't know. We can't shut solar off.
So,
Well, they did.
yeah, this board cannot shut solar
Yeah,
off
no,
and that, but,
I mean, that
so
we
what's
can't
going
do.
on is the electrical permit for the solar panels cannot be finalized and CO'd until
Got it.
this process
Yeah,
goes through.
so-
Zoning, you need zoning prior to building approval.
Right, okay, okay. Thank you for clarification on that, Ben. Okay, so that's why your solar's off, because you can't get the electrical finalized. You can't get the electrical inspected until this all is rectified.
Oh, but what if I say,
Well,
it's gonna take time, obviously, to do
yeah,
all this.
yeah, so that's something you're gonna have to deal with, that portion of the electrical side of the solar with the town, okay?
Because I'm trying to move forward,
Right. Commissioner Reddick, was there anything else?
No, that was it.
Okay. Vice Chairman Beatty?
Yes, just a couple things. I'm just trying to understand this a little bit better. So 0 permits have been pulled.
Except for the garage, the shed a long while ago.
Okay, I guess I'll go through, okay, so I see in the different photos, and I don't know if there need to be permits, but there's some pads that have showed up. Was that something that should have been permitted, or are pads okay?
When you say pads,
There's a pad, a cement pad that.
Slabs.
Yeah,
That could have been there.
They were there.
I mean, if
or-
it's a patio slab, I mean, on grade, you wouldn't need
Wouldn't need that.
necessarily need a permit for that.
Okay.
The last approved permit for this parcel that we have is the as-built survey that was in with your application materials.
Right.
That's an as-built from 2019. That was for the detached accessory building.
Okay, the garage,
This one right here,
oh, the detached one?
Yeah.
the
Okay,
original one.
okay. And it looks like the garage was always there in some form, like that wasn't something that you built. The big garage, that was there.
No.
22 by
No.
38 was always there.
Okay, all
Oh,
right.
that part, yes, I'm
But-
sorry.
But you connected it to the house.
Yeah, Elaine?
Yes, but I put the firewall up because the argument that went on, that was going on.
He did do it according to what he was told to do by the building department. He said, you can't do this unless you build a firewall. He did a
Right.
firewall, then started connecting, and then he was told, no, you can't do this.
And then we got in an argument, and I got mad.
Do you have any written documentation about connecting the firewall? And the
No, it was all
garage?
verbal.
All verbal?
Yeah, it was
okay.
all, because they were fighting with Bill DeFerro, he was the builder.
All right.
They were fighting good 3 times. That's what I was mad about, and I didn't know, I didn't
And
know.
you, and you don't also, you also do not have a permit for when you built the I guess, the extended shed really right on top of the property line. That was something that.
No, sir, because I thought doing that, because I was I'd
Right.
say, the length of the shed that was on the other side of the property, I built the same, well, I had added to it.
He was adding any
Right.
space, but when he
Okay.
connected it to the
Right.
garage, that was
Right.
not the right thing to do.
And looking at some of the property lines here too, it appears that, is your fence in some of the neighbor's yard, or is that just
No.
maybe?
No. Absolutely not.
See,
What- Or is the blue line sort of an approximation? And if that's okay, if it is, like I'm looking at imagery 3,
I think these are the survey lines.
Yeah.
This,
The survey lines are real dark and they're dashed.
Okay.
The fence has the little square. The only place it does cross a property would be towards the front, and it goes a little bit on Henry Street, because Henry Street retained
Okay.
the cul-de-sac.
right. So I guess where I'm going is I see a line and I see the fence on the other side of the line in the back, I'm going to say the back left corner.
Oh, no, that
No.
is what that is, that's a property line, it's a dash line. I just don't make
Yeah,
it dark because.
Yeah, we're looking at pictures.
Yeah, I'm looking at the pictures.
Oh,
Is,
so the pictures have an overlay of the property line.
okay. If there was a fence connecting to the PVC fence, it would not be George's fence.
Well, what Commissioner
Yeah.
Beatty's looking at is the picture dated 3/18/2024.
Is that something from GIS?
Yeah, that's the town's GIS software.
okay.
So how accurate are these lines?
The survey is going to be the more precise and
Got it.
accurate.
No,
Okay.
that's fine.
Okay, so it's just approximation. Okay, I just
No,
was making,
that's perfect.
okay. And a question also is, do you have any more unregistered vehicles on the property right now?
I have 2 more, which I'm gonna keep, one's gonna be covered, my stepfather passed away about 12 years ago, and I'll be putting that inside the garage, and I got my vehicles, I haven't had a car in 4 years, because, whatever, but I got it apart. I got my couple of cars, so each day I'm doing something as my body allows me to get these cars out. I already have.
And I guess what was the specific hardship? And I'm talking about the shed way in the back, the long shed. What was your hardship for that?
Yeah, I have no cellar, no nothing to put anything anywhere, and I got a lot of storage, and we can't even use the attic in the house. It's just not right or up there, and I'm afraid of fires in the house if we put stuff up in there, so I don't want it up there. So we just have no room with everything, no room at all. And when I'll tell you one real quick, when we got the house about 28 years ago, I was shorted 15 feet in the back. I was mad because I went and, first week, I chopped down quite a few trees and I got in a fight with the person behind me. I didn't know they weren't mine. There was like 30 trees and I took quite a few down on the right side. We had trees hanging over my yard and everything. But anyways, then we had to have the yard re-surveyed and it was 15 feet short. That even pissed me off even more because if I'd known, I would have never bought the house. But that's back then. But I've chopped quite a bit of trees down.
Another thing is that this is in an R20 zone, and it's only 11,000 square feet. So this is a non-conforming lot to begin with. Had this configuration of house been on a normal 20,000 square foot lot, it would be legal, but he's kind of stuck on a small lot. And the town didn't renounce that land for, around the cul-de-sac, which I guess it can't because it is a cul-de-sac. It's an end of a street. Yeah, so they can't take that part away. But he's still on an 11,000 square foot lot.
Right, but that doesn't give him the opportunity to expand on that nonconformity, so.
No, I was just saying. if
Yeah,
I
no,
was-
I understand, yeah.
I
no,
didn't know that until recently. I
Yeah.
didn't know that at all.
Okay. Anything else?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay. Secretary Smith?
Yeah, thank you so much. I think we've established what has permits and what doesn't. So I just want to make sure I'm wrapping my head around properly, like, the timeline here of building and moving. So the garage was built in 2019 with a permit,
Yes.
the way it was supposed to. When was that roof connected, or when was the connection done?
Roof on the.
In between the
patio?
garage, and the house? It was at the
Then.
same time?
Yeah,
And when was the fence put up?
2019.
At the same time? Because the full fence?
I'm sorry?
Because the photos in 2020 don't have like a full fence around,
Could be.
all the way
It
around.
was about, I think I have the receipt.
6-foot fence?
No, the 8-foot. That was up there about 2019, 2020.
Yeah, the pictures from 4/25, 4/29, 2020 do not show the fence.
Yeah, it doesn't have the fence on the back right corner. So the fence was, from the photos at least, it would seem somewhere in 2020, and that
Right.
didn't have a permit because, you know,
Didn't have a
you don't
gate.
necessarily need one, except you would need a variance for the higher amount. So when was the shed moved to be up against the property line then?
About 2020 roughly, somewhere 2020, 21, right there, the shed was moved until the little end that we put up recently was about 2-3 months ago.
And then the awning, or the covered part of like the patio, when was that done?
Same thing, about 2-3 months ago.
Okay.
Those are the only two things there that I didn't think I needed a permit if I know that, which I know now.
Yeah, it sounds like it kind of all added up. And so now you've got two inoperable vehicles, but right now, but they're not, or unregistered vehicles, but they're not in the garage?
It will be. What I do is during the day, I roll a couple of them out, work on them, you know, and then I push, you know,
So is there something, I mean, are there other cars in the garage right now too?
yes. My mother's side, and I've been leaving hers out, I shouldn't, but when I have other cars that I gotta finish, sometimes I have to leave them in a couple weeks.
So how many cars are there total then,
That are,
including in the garage and everything?
okay, let's see,
It might not be totally germane to this, I'm just, it speaks to kind of your hardship around space.
I think there's 7 total. But I can have as many in the garage as I want, you know, at that point, but they're hobby, it's my hobby, you know, and that's when I can work. And that's the only thing that keeps me going, you know. I got rid of 4 cars in like 2 months now.
Yeah, I can, you know, from driving past the property now, it certainly doesn't look like some of these older photos where
Right.
there's a ton there.
I made sure, I didn't know, you know, as I say, I'm getting rid, my intent is to get rid of them because I don't like, I have to have a couple, but I don't like that
I
many.
hear you. My wife doesn't let me have any more than 2. You know. Otherwise, I might be in the same boat, but also, you know, you can only fit so many.
Right, right.
I mean, that's all I really have, is just kind of questioning that timeline. So basically, 2019 was the last time something was done like the way it was supposed to, and then a lot of the rest of it was done in 2020, and then some of the changes in 2024. What basically brought us to the point where it was brought up recently then?
Yeah, who's,
As far as I understand, it was him trying to get his solar finalized. And
okay.
I don't know
Right.
if they brought a permit and did it all at that point and had a picture of what the house looked like to
right.
get the permit.
That got me mad, but whatever. You know, I learned, as I say, I learned a great lesson. I just want to hopefully appreciative that you, let me, how you say, finish this off, get it done, so I get the solar back on, 'cause we're really hurting for money. And I'm trying to, you know, but whatever. It is what it is. I brought myself into the problem, but I will take care of it.
All right, I mean, that's all I needed to
Okay, can,
clarify.
Yeah, I can just clarify a little on the discovery of this. So this was brought to my attention by a building inspector who went out to do an inspection on the solar panels.
Okay.
And said, when he was in the field, said, you know, what was out there didn't match the plans that they had on file. And he was kind of looking at the roof line, looking at the plans, going back and forth, and that's when he brought it to my attention, as well as the amount of inoperable or unregistered motor vehicles that is under a separate ordinance that my department also enforces. So that's how it was brought to my attention, through a building inspection.
Was that building inspector from the, your place or from the, Sunrun?
Would have been from our,
It
from
was
the
an
town.
inspection, yeah, from the building department,
Yeah.
set up with an inspection from,
Because I'm angry at
Solar
Sunrun, right?
panel.
I think I'm gonna rip it off the roof.
Well, that's between
I
you
know,
and
but I'm just
Sunrun,
saying,
yeah.
I'm angry.
Yep, yep.
I don't want
My main point with the, you know, what brought this about is,
Right, understand.
was this something that the neighbors all got together with torches and pitchforks
No,
and
my neighbors
stormed
are
town
great.
hall to complain, or like,
Well, you know what?
is this something we happened upon and then it kind of just kept
One thing-
digging and digging and digging?
Mr. Smith, one thing real quick, and I don't mean to harp. I went down Bailey Road today with this old gentleman. There's 3 houses that are so bowed on the lawn, grass this high, one kid sleeping in the bus. I know all those people. Really? And then you gotta come at me, my yard is pretty decent and everything else. I was so upset. And on 533 New Breton Avenue, he's got 25 cars in the backyard, I counted, not registered.
Right.
That aggravated me.
That,
know,
I understand that. That is something that,
I
you know.
understand. I'm just saying,
that
I'm
has-
hurt.
No, I understand that, but unfortunately, right now,
I'm here.
exactly.
No, I know.
Your particular case was brought to our
think it was that
attention.
severe.
And yeah,
You know?
it is at this point.
But
So,
what I did have plans on doing, but obviously I hear differently, but I'll get an attorney. But anyways, behind me, I was gonna buy that property, like 15 feet of it, you know, and stop all, you know, that's what I wanted to do, get my 15 feet back. Because those people, whoever they were, I don't know who it is, has been dumping lawn crap in the back there, and I got it smells rotten, so I've been cleaning it up every year. They dump everything back behind their trees, whoever it is. I don't know who it is. And I've been cleaning it up, and it's terrible. So you want to talk about fire? That stuff is fire. It's all hay and everything. And there was a fire there a few years ago. I put it out, but I'm chopping more trees as of next week when I get a time. I want to clean it up. That's all. I'm just, well,
Okay.
anyways, let's,
Commissioner Ham, do you have any questions?
Am I allowed to ask questions as an alternate
Yes,
tonight?
you are. Yes, you can ask questions. You just can't get involved in the discussion.
I have a few questions.
go ahead.
Were these improvements to the property made in order to accommodate the hardships that come with an aging parent?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, sir.
Was everything built to code?
Yes, it was.
And would you be willing to pay the permit fees and move on?
Yes, sir. I made a mistake, okay, and I want to rectify it. I just want to live in peace. I've had such hell with my life, especially with the nice police department, but I won't get involved in that. But I just want peace. My mother's dying, my dog, and I feel upset. So I just want to, you know, I've been in this town for quite a few years. I've helped a lot of people in my life. I'm not no angel, but I just want to move on. I'll be glad to pay the fees, whatever I have to do to be a part. But as I say, the only thing that upsets me is all the other people around. And you know, the other thing I'll bring up real quick is the old Ames. How close do you want that? I'm
Has
just
nothing
saying.
to do
No,
with this.
this has, yeah, we can't
I
discuss
know.
anything else that's
You're
going
right,
on
it's
in the
legal.
town, any other,
just
we
saying
just
what
need
I
to.
see.
No, I understand that,
Nobody wants to be here all night.
I'm not
Yeah.
harping on it,
Yeah.
harping on
Yeah.
it. Okay. But anyways, go ahead.
Commissioner Mann, that was it?
Yeah, I'm
that's it?
good.
Okay,
Unfortunately, I can't vote tonight, but I just wanted to ask a few questions.
Thank you.
sure. Commissioner Mata?
Does your mother still drive?
Yes, she does. We share a car now, 'cause I don't even want her putting gas in it.
So I just am having a hard time understanding what the hardship is.
Well, she's fallen quite a few times. She's got lupus, and I don't know, I'm finding out what it does. The dog is any month now, she's gonna let go. We got a lot of stuff that way in that hardship. I've been sick. I wanted to die a month ago because I got problems.
What's the hardship?
I had written down the hardships as for the coverage of the house, that it would fit on a normal lot, had this been a normal lot. It's only 11,000 when it should be 20,000 is accepted for one of those, for a house, if it was being made brand new. That was one. There was also the height of the fence. He said robbery.
been
He
robbed.
said animals would come in the yard. He had foxes living under the raised up shed. He moved the shed over toward the house, connected that. That was not correct, legal to do, but it did solve the problem of animals living under a raised up shed. There was the coverage, there was, the rear yard, yeah, that, when he connected the shed, that,
I mean,
I
Our
guess,
main problem is-
for a bigger yard.
if you would say
because-
hardship, is the animals. What are we gonna do with the animals? They're bad. I mean, I feel bad for them. I take care of them as best I could, but they're all over and they're scary. The
Yeah,
coyotes,
well,
there's 6 of them in
They
there.
were here first.
Yeah, this is their land, we're invading their turf.
It's not a
Yeah.
hardship.
We all have the same animals.
What can we do to help them? Because I'm scared of them at night, because I'm out there and they come out, there's 2 foxes that come over every night, corner the fence, you know, I'm just saying.
Well-
Right.
Is that a hardship?
No, it's not a hardship. A hardship would be like if somebody came in here and they needed a carport attached to the side of their house because they're in a wheelchair. Okay? Because you're supposed to have 15 feet on each side, and somebody had to come in here and get in front of the panel just like you and go through the process, get the permits, make sure the Ts were crossed and the Is were dotted. It was the person who was applying for it. It's their responsibility to know the rules. I would love to have an 8-foot fence, but you can't have an 8-foot fence because you have to go through here to have an 8-foot fence. So now you went ahead and you put up an 8-foot fence with no regard for the rules.
It's not
So-
regard, I was scared, I am telling you, I've had some bad stuff happen with robberies and stuff like that, and I don't want, anything happens to my mother, I'll be in jail, that's all I'm gonna say, you know, I
Well,
just,
That,
that's all.
you have to stop
No, I know, I'm just
making
saying.
statements like
It's
that,
not-
okay?
It's the truth. I don't want nothing to happen to my mother, and, you know,
You're not the only person, though,
right.
that this is happening
no,
to.
you're right, but we gotta do something. I know it's a different subject.
Yes, and we have to move on. We have to move on. Commissioner Montague?
I'm all set.
Okay. I just have a couple of statements in regards to your hardship and a few other things. I could kind of go with the hardship of protecting your mother when it comes to her connecting the garage to the house. Yes, I have an elderly mother, yes. As for the lot size, you know what? I can't say that's a hardship because you bought it that way.
I didn't know.
That's when you do
learned
your
the
due
hard way.
diligence. Right, that's when you do your due diligence when you're purchasing. As for the height of the fence, granted, all your neighbors like it, they're okay with it. It's not gonna protect animals. Animals can dig, they can get other, they can
go around the
They could
front.
go around the front, they can go under the fence, they can go over the fence even still. They can climb a tree, jump over, okay?
See
It's
the
not gonna,
rocks?
it's not gonna protect the animals, okay? As for robberies, there's nothing you can do to prevent a robbery anymore. So the effect of your height of your fence, that's in your hardship from animals breaching the fence line, I can't see that as a hardship.
I don't think
Okay.
you've seen the rest under there. Did you see the rocks they got where they can't dig? I chopped the trees down that they can't jump on to.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I lived behind you. I lived behind that house when I was growing up.
Oh, when you were growing up.
When I was growing up, I lived behind that
Is there a
house.
person named John?
No.
Or is it John that died?
No, but we're going to move on. My second big thing is we cannot have a 3-foot setback between your building and your yard or your property line. I just can't see that. Okay, that's just too close. If you had come to us and say you wanted to put the garage up and you were looking for, I don't know, 12, 13, 14, 15, probably about a 5-6 foot variance to put the rest of the garage, I wouldn't have had a problem with that. You know, but since you added those sheds to that and have made a 4-foot at most setback, I just don't,
Well, I hope you're not gonna make me take that down.
I don't know yet. I'll be honest with you, I don't know.
I spent too much money, ma'am.
I understand that. But you should have come to us,
I
and I
didn't know.
understand you did not know, but you should have asked questions to staff. If you had the permit for this, they would have informed you, because you would have had to go with them and show them a plan. And then they would have informed you saying, you need a variance.
Well, believe me, I learned my lesson.
Right.
I did.
Yeah.
So, and unfortunately,
I'm
the
willing to pay
consequences.
The fines, but I'm not willing to take it down. I can't. I got too much stuff all over. I have nowhere to put it. I have to put it out in the yard, and I don't want to. I don't want to be accused of having garbage in my yard.
Right. I don't have any further questions. I would like to open this briefly to the public. They have a right to be heard. Is there anybody from the public who would like to speak either in favor or against
You want me to
this,
sit down?
please? Yes, please.
You can come on up.
Yep, yeah. And please, anybody who is speaking in the public, that you can be addressing the commission and not the applicant. And please state your name and address for the record, please.
Good evening, I'm Gail Chagall. I live at 28 Ashwell Avenue, and my backyard is the one that Mr. Hallahan is referring. I have no problem with the fence being there. The only thing I have a problem with, which I did, and there was no mention of.
please. Look at us.
Ma'am,
Thank you.
According to my email that I sent to you, my main concern is when I go to sell the house, and/or my children go to sell the house, that we have a free and clear deed lines, because if we're going to have to incur a new survey because he's come so close to or even possibly over the present line, I don't feel it's my responsibility financially to incur a new survey cost. So that's my biggest concern. I have no problem with the fence being there. It's just, if it has come onto my property, then I have a problem with it.
Right. From what we can see from the survey that has been done, it's not.
Okay. Okay, then.
Just to put that,
Yeah.
your mind at ease, it's not.
Okay.
It's close.
Okay.
You know, but it is not going onto
So-
your property.
Okay, so that wouldn't preclude a free and clear sale then, even though it's so close?
That you would have to speak to a real estate agent on. I do not know that. So that is something that you would have to, talk to a real estate agent or a real estate attorney.
Okay.
Okay?
Is my email going to be part of the record?
Yes, a matter of fact, Mr. Secretary, could you read her email into the record, please?
Yeah, are all the rest of them in there?
We don't have to read
as
all
well?
of them, do we?
Or are they in the record?
Should, huh?
They're already in.
They're already in
They're
the record.
already?
But
Already in the
hers,
re-
because we got,
Yeah,
just
they're
got it,
already
we
in the
need to-
record in the packet. This just came in yesterday
so we
afternoon,
just have
so
to
it
read
wasn't
her
in your
email.
packet.
Okay.
We're going to read your email into the record.
Okay, thank you.
You're
I
welcome.
appreciate it.
thank you, ma'am.
Right, email received Monday, May 20th, 8:27 a.m. from Gail. I'm sorry, I don't want to butcher your last name. Starts with S. To the Land Use Commission's subject, concerns with appeal 2024-01, 11 Henry Street, George Hallahan. Chairperson Michelle Zach, I am writing with concerns I have as a property owner abutting the above referenced variance application at 11 Henry Street. I live at 28 Ashwell Avenue. The back of my property abuts said property on Henry Street. I am very concerned that the fence and additional full structure added to the back of the garage has encroached on my back property line. I want to be ensured that these additions do not cause me or my heirs property-defining issues when the time comes that I want to sell my property, and that I will have a clear and unencumbered deed when a new survey is done by the seller. I do not feel it is my obligation to incur the cost of a new survey because these builds were not done in a legal and proper manner in accordance with Rocky Hills zoning regulations. I will be attending the upcoming public hearing scheduled for Tuesday, May 21st at 7 p.m. to ensure my concerns are heard and addressed. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Anybody else from the public that would like to speak, either for or against? Hearing none. Okay, one brief question. Go ahead and step up to the podium so we can hear.
I just want to say, does Gail want a copy of my survey?
You can go ahead and speak to her about that if she would like a copy of it. That's between the two. But you can speak to her after?
After the fact.
After, please? Thank you. Okay, can I get a motion to close any other further questions from commission? I'm sorry. Hearing none, can I get a motion to close the public hearing, please?
Motion.
Motion.
Second? Okay, we've got a motion, we've got a second. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
I
Okay, the public hearing is now closed. Okay, can I get a motion, actually, what are our options? What can, as a commission, we can do in this situation? I have an idea, but I'd like to hear from staff.
As far as,
Remediation for this? I know we theoretically could have him take that shed down.
you could,
Yes, we could. We could also have him take part of his garage down, because it's, again, we don't have the variance for the setback.
you
We could.
do have that power.
Okay,
In the fence.
and the fence.
and the fence, bring it down to a 6-foot fence, so we could theoretically do all of that. Okay,
Are you thinking breaking them down into?
Well,
No.
we should probably, I would like to huddle up.
yeah,
And you guys,
I don't
I
think,
think, I don't know, is huddling up inappropriate? But
can
Can we go to another room?
yeah, that.
can we do kind of like how,
It's, I mean, what you're discussing is in the,
it's in the purview
Yeah,
of
the
of this,
public, so-
yeah, there's no real executive session per se.
I think we would just have the discussion here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can discuss
Sure,
it.
I'm just
Yeah.
trying to avoid conflict.
No, you're fine,
Oh,
because this
yeah.
is, it is all on the record.
yeah.
We don't have it's not warranted enough for an executive session, so. Theoretically, yes, we could do all three, bring the fence down to 6 feet, take down that little shed, take down the part of the garage. In my opinion, I don't feasibly see that. What else is our,
Well, should we break these down into 3 items and discuss each one? And.
we
and-
could, you know, the fence.
The way I see it is, none of the neighbors are complaining about the fence.
Correct.
Was it put up improperly, not consistent with the rules? Yes. So if there's an option to, pay for the permitting or fine or something like that, but leave it up because none of the neighbors have complained specifically about the fence, I'm fine with that. I think there's, I think the shed that's right up against the property line is like a bridge too far. And I think that, that's a little different because it's also a hazard. And that is kind of when you get in the issue of, the effect on the neighbors' properties and values and all these things as well. There was already a shed there, but it was moved to a spot that is now non-conforming. So, unfortunately, I think if moving it back is an option, then that should be done. And the hardship of not having enough space, I mean, if you got enough space for a lot of vehicles, then maybe you can make some more room, unfortunately. Not having enough space is not necessarily a hardship by itself.
Agreed.
Agreed.
And then to the point of the roof connecting the garage and the house, as long as it's safe, as long as it's up to fire code with the proper, thickness for fire safety for the town, if that's something that needs to be checked, I'm fine with that, because, yeah, I understand, especially if you're, moving mom in and out of the house. That's what's the difference between having it covered or having it connected or whatever? As long as it's safe and up to code and it's not gonna cause a problem, between the two.
So-
But that's just my opinion on the three things
I
that
just
I
want to
see.
chime in quick. So Secretary Smith, I agree with you pretty much on everything that you just said. If the fence is not an issue with the neighbors as far as how it looks aesthetically, if it's constructed safely, I would go one step further in addition to paying the permit fees sort of retroactively, is there needs to be an inspection of any structure that was built and attached to the house, and it has to be certified by a qualified inspector that it is safe, it's up to code. That means electrical, that means any water that may or may not be present, that means fire code, building standards, all the safety codes should be taken care of by the owner of the property as well as those permit fees. And additionally, if they would be agreeable to a proper site survey by a third-party surveyor, not the one they currently had, but perhaps somebody we could recommend, or somebody else could recommend, or they could find, to do a survey of the lot to make sure it's not incurring on anybody else's property, just so there's assurances for the neighbors. I don't think the neighbors should have to incur a fee for doing any kind of survey either if they're concerned. I think that's fair, because I just want to make one last statement. I can understand ignorance of the rules and the law one time, but over 5 years, multiple times, I'm sorry, I only give a mulligan maybe once or twice in that regard, but over 5 years, multiple times, with multiple contractors, that, to our esteemed colleague's point, and the point I was trying to make earlier, a licensed contractor would pull the permit, would have to go through a process, and would post the permit in full view of the public while they're doing the work. So, again, I think you and I are on the same page with those addendums for the inspection and certification that everything is built to code.
Right. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm going to start with the fence. Last year, this commission met, and there was a resident with a true hardship, and they had crops in their backyard, and they had a true hardship because there were hills where the deer could easily jump over it. And this commission was really tough on that guy, that family. And we made them put up the high fence only where the hardship existed. And what I'm concerned about here is a precedent. And the precedent of putting it up, getting called out for it, having all your neighbors like it, and getting to keep it. So I'm against the fence. I'm sure all the neighbors, and I'm wondering if the neighbors like it because of what it's blocking from view. Yes?
Having read the letters from the people, they like having the fence there. They don't realize, they're elderly people, they don't realize that it's 8 feet when
Right.
it should be 6
Right.
feet, just like everybody else in
Right,
town.
right. So,
If I wanted an 8-foot fence,
Right.
I'd have to come in front of you.
yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Anyway, so that's sort of, I just feel like if we grant this, we are giving basically anyone in town could pull this stunt and say, oh, they did it for 11 Henry Street. So now I'm going to go to the shed. Like, the shed, I have to agree, is really a gross violation. There's not enough room, it is encroaching on the neighbor's yard, and my only thing is, I don't think it should be there. And I agree with what you said, Michelle, as if someone came and said, hey, we'd like to have a smaller shed, and hey, could we have like a 7-foot? But that didn't happen. Now, going to the house is, I think, I agree with everybody there, is that I could see granting that variance on all the reasons that we said.
Okay. Commissioner Mata, do you have anything that you
Yeah.
want to?
The fence, I'm with John on. If we let the
Yeah,
fence.
John B.
If we let this, basically, I see it that this gentleman went ahead and did what he wanted to do, and now he got caught, and that's why he's here. So I am not for the fence being 8 feet, and I believe that the shed should go.
Please, sir, please. Okay,
And when I die, collect it from my sisters. That's what I told my mother to do tonight.
okay,
My house.
okay,
I'm done.
Actually,
okay, no, don't, okay.
I'm not taking anything down, I'm sorry. I worked too hard. Nope.
We understand that, but we have to rule on this because of the codes.
I'm gonna get a petition, and I'm gonna get an attorney. That's it, I'm done. I'm sorry. This is not fair. You gotta scoop down on me.
Sir, we haven't made a decision yet.
Yes, and also, this is our time
Talking
to,
to us.
this is our time to discuss, okay?
Get out of the room then. I don't wanna hear you. I don't wanna hear this, because I'm gonna get pissed, and I'm gonna say something not nice.
Okay. Do you have anything else to say, Commissioner Meyer?
no, I
Okay.
just,
I got it,
Feelings.
okay. As for the fence, I'm on the fence. I get the neighbors saying that, okay, yeah, they're okay with the fence, whatnot. Granted, some might not realize it's 8 feet rather than 6 feet. It is setting a precedent, and that's something that we do not like doing. The shed, that's my stickling point right now. It's too close. Too close. The roof connection from the house to the garage, I'm okay with. I agree with Commissioner Roderick and Secretary Smith that it needs to be inspected. Okay? It needs to be made sure it's up to code. If at one time, I don't know where that exactly, that the fire buffers were supposed to be put, if they were that area between the garage and that area, make sure it's done, have it inspected, okay? I'm okay with that connection as long as it's to code. I understand what he's saying, he doesn't want to take the shed down. But we have to do something with the shed.
I think one other thing, sorry, not
No,
to
that's
interrupt,
fine.
but
This is
because we kind of overlooked this, is there's a percentage of lot coverage.
You're right.
Right.
It's
That is-
supposed to be 20%, and this is 26.5.
John was talking, I was thinking of that too, is,
Yeah.
yeah, there's another.
With
thing
no
we-
shed, maybe we're at 20%.
Right.
Type of thing.
Right, and I completely understand what he's saying, that, yes, he spent a lot of money on the shed. There is no storage, all these houses up there are on slabs. I get that, okay? If it could be moved, if that's possible.
Still maintains the same lot
Yeah,
coverage.
it is
Right, but
possible.
let's not think of the lot coverage right now, okay? Let's think of this little 3-foot, 4-foot area.
Well, here's the thing, Michelle, I'm sorry
Go
to
ahead,
interrupt you.
no.
Sorry.
I go after, I just have one.
So,
Okay.
I think we've all alluded to this, and I'm just gonna say it straight up.
Go for it.
Not gonna beat around the bush about it. I don't hear a hardship. There's like 8 cars in the yard, there's a huge
Yep.
garage. The hardship that was stated was storage.
Right.
And the reason why the shed was constructed and moved and reconstructed the way it presently is. The cars are out of the garage. There's more than ample room for any supposed storage that's required, in my opinion.
Right.
You know, I think
Well,
we've all
it's not-
tried to be magnanimous
No,
about this.
I get
But
you
it's a
completely.
self-imposed hardship.
True.
Not actually,
And as somebody who had elderly parents, I don't mean to bemoan that responsibility, but if his mom is driving and he's concerned about a 3-foot walk from a garage to the house and other issues with her health, maybe she shouldn't be driving.
And by the way, they're sharing the same car, so it's one car.
right.
Right, so,
But he's-
again, going back to, I'm gonna stop right here, I just don't hear a hardship.
Right.
I'm sorry if that's crass.
I-
but
no.
don't hear a hardship.
No, don't, no, you're absolutely right. And then that's why I'm saying the
You're a mea
shed,
culpa.
yeah, the shed is my stickling point. That's where I am,
Very, yeah.
yeah, I just,
It's the size of a car. You get rid of that and a car out of
Right.
the garage.
Right.
You've got your storage space.
right.
What was it that you said, I'm sorry, about the fence?
She's on the fence.
I'm on the fence for the fence.
Okay, got it. Oh, I should have remembered that.
I'm sorry, what do you have? I didn't.
So I was just looking at the location survey, the big one, and then the picture from 2020, so before he made all these modifications or improvements, whatever you want to call it. It looks like that 25 minimum rear yard, the garage was already, it already surpassed it. So
Right.
you're already working with, he already was too close to the fence anyway.
Yeah.
And then he added the new thing. So you can't just grant him a variance and let him keep it and make him rip it down. I mean, I understand what you're
That's-
saying, but like the
that's
guy
the
already
thing,
started off too
right.
close. What's the
We're-
difference between?
You're talking about,
it's
you're
less than
talking about
8 or
this
15
much
feet.
feet
Whoa.
between the edge of the shed. Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to throw in that, under that building permit with the detached garage, the setbacks for the detached are different, so that it did meet
But
the
now- It
did
setbacks
fall
at
in.
the
So now,
time.
now I have
prior
another
to being
question. So
connected.
you're saying it's a hazard, a fire hazard. I mean, what is the fire hazard?
I can't speak on fire hazard or not.
You're too
Clarify your
close.
question.
Yeah, you're
What is he
too
too close to?
So, with the garage the way it is, let's say a fire kicks off in the garage.
Right.
All right, so with now the attachment to the home, there is now a conduit for the flame, and the flame will rise and go into the higher points to go across to the main structure. Additionally, now with the shed next to the fence, and there being shrubbery and trees and things of that nature from the wooded area behind the house, if it kicks off and now traverses down and hits the shed, that's gonna kick off, potentially, any shrubbery or trees, which then leads directly to the neighbors' homes. So trust me, between the automobiles, I don't know what other items may be in the garage or the storage shed, or how it's stored, if it's stored safely or properly, if there's improperly stored fuel,
And that's not our concern.
right? I'm just
No, I
hypothetical.
understand you. Yep.
Anything's
That's part of the
possible.
hazard issues. So anything that could kick off there in that structure can go one way or the other, and we're not even talking yet about winds or anything of that nature spreading it to other structures.
So on the sides of the house, it was supposed to be 15 feet of space? And then the back is 25
25.
feet? Mm-hmm. Okay, and he's looking to,
For a variance of 21.2 feet. Or 21 feet, 2 inches.
Close, right? We're done. I'm going home. I ain't doing shit. I'm done. Because you know what? It's not fair. I'll have an attorney. Watch what's gonna happen now. I am done. You're calling him a liar. I gotta get-
We're not calling anybody. Whoa.
whoa.
Elaine, please. No, sir, we're not calling anybody a liar.
I'm done.
All right, then that's your prerogative. If you would like to leave,
You watch the trouble I'm gonna.
Commissioner Zach, maybe we should
gonna call
remind him this is all
911.
being recorded.
sir, yes. Sir, this is being recorded right now. So if you would like to leave, you can leave.
Collect from my sisters, when I'm dead. So I'm not doing anything. I'll pay the fines, but otherwise I'm not doing anything else. You're not spending my money. I don't have any more.
Well, you should have thought of that
Should have
before you
thought
did
about
this.
that before you
We
went
understand
ahead.
that, but there are consequences.
Arguing doesn't do any good, just let them
Yeah.
vent and leave.
Okay, that's your right, yep.
It doesn't do any good to engage.
I request all the trees around my property chopped down too, because that's a fire hazard. And I've been cleaning them up, and it's all over the place. That's okay. So when they catch fire, that's why. I'll lay it back home if you want. I'll pay you. I'm done. Piece of shit town. Crap. There's no mercy around here, these fucking retards. You know a good lawyer? I'm gonna get some nice one.
Just so you know, we are not calling you a liar. We do not do that.
No, we're just, We're trying to have a transparent conversation is all.
Yes. Okay.
We're going to take a breath.
Okay.
And our friend is saying, I was an alternate for this?
Yeah, okay, so the let's, oh, gosh. What are we looking at? Let's just say we leave the fence, okay? What are we looking at, the permit fee, and what fines would be associated?
Well, also keep
Or
in
what
mind that.
can we do? Let's put it
Well,
that
also
way.
keep in mind that, I mean, because the connection, the additional, and the additions have no permits, then they were never inspected by a building inspector anyway. So that's a whole nother process that would have to happen after anything in with zoning.
Yep,
That's
So,
what I was saying earlier.
yeah.
yeah, I mean, so, I mean, after the fact permits in the building department, I believe are double fees just for starters. But as far as if it was done to code, I mean, they would have to be done to code if they were not. So that's a whole nother thing that, you know, we don't have purview over here.
Right.
Right.
I wish we could also know who the contractors were. That way we can go back and say, you know better.
No,
Well, that's out
They
of
might
our
not be
purview
alive
as well.
anymore.
You're
is
right,
what
you're right.
we've
They
already
might
been
not be,
told.
they might not even be
But that's
licensed
also out of our
contractors, but
purview,
that's,
you know, I mean,
Yeah.
to go back and retroactively slap somebody on the back of the hand.
yeah, you're right, you're right. And we don't even know if they're,
This is sticky.
this is a very sticky
not
situation. This is, we've had situations similar to this, but not this bad. Yes.
One of my other concerns, as I was just listening to you talk, was, you know, we're setting a precedent.
You're right, we are. And,
That residents can do whatever they would like to do, and then the town comes in later and gives them a slap on the wrist. That's how I see this going.
Ben, should we get a legal opinion on this? Should we bring this to legal?
You can if that's your decision, but you can rule, I mean, however way you want.
I think we need to just make a decision.
Yeah, Michelle,
All right.
who's voting tonight? Who's,
John, you, me, Alan, and Elaine.
okay.
Okay, let's do this. Let's go with, and it has to be 4. We have to have four affirmative votes for anything to pass.
Yeah, and
Okay.
I will just add in real quick, just,
Yeah, go
I mean,
ahead.
about regards to the survey, I mean, this, we accept these surveys for all kinds of permits
Of
all the
course,
time,
yeah.
and this is a stamped and sealed
Right.
licensed CT surveyor. I mean, this
Right, and
company,
if-
this
Okay, so
company
that's-
submits a
right,
lot of
no
things.
need
And
Another
if, God
survey.
forbid, there
Yeah,
was
I don't-
any falsification, and I'm not saying this, sir, but let's just say he, you know, he messed up royally on the survey, his license is at stake.
Right, I mean.
Right,
yeah,
so we
but
can
I
say,
don't, yeah.
yeah.
Michelle.
Buyers of a home can get a survey,
Right.
you know, whenever they want,
The realtor
or,
can do it too of their own volition if there's a
Yeah, and they
question as
can-
well, so.
On the survey, Michelle, I'm not an expert at reading these, but IP, is that in-ground post? Is that what?
Iron pipe.
That's the-
Iron
Iron
pipe.
That's the
Yeah,
iron
iron
pipe.
pipe,
Okay,
yeah.
and they're all there, and they're just connecting the dots, so I'm just.
should be valid.
Yeah.
You're right, yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
good point, John.
Yep.
Good catch.
Okay, let's go ahead and take this piece by piece. The fence, can I get a motion on the fence, please?
How do we phrase it?
Well, let's
How
put-
about, I'm gonna say this, if it makes me the bad guy, I'm gonna say a motion to deny because upon thinking through what our colleagues have said, it does establish a precedence, and we did give a really stringent looking at that variance last year.
We
with the
did.
Property, and for, much for the same reasons, we made a similar decision. We did not want to set a precedent that it would be okay to just go ahead and do something and then ask for forgiveness after. As much as I hate to say that,
I agree with
I
you.
agree.
that's my
Yes.
vote.
Do I have a second?
I second it.
Okay, discussion?
And what was this a motion for?
So it's a motion to deny,
To deny?
to,
For the fence.
for the fence,
The-
to not to allow a variance for the fence. So it
Yes.
would be bringing it back down to 6 feet.
That's fine. That's what I agree with.
Okay. And let's put that in there, friendly and addendum to that it would have to come back down to 6 feet.
Yeah.
Just so that it's clear.
Yeah, not take it down entirely, but just.
Bring it down to 2 feet.
Bring it down to 6 feet,
Yep,
yes.
okay. Any other discussion? None? All in favor of the denial?
Of the denial.
Opposed? That has,
Yeah,
he
I
opposed.
oppose.
So we have the 4 to deny, that has passed, the fence has to come down to 6. Okay, let's do the roof connection from the house to the garage. Do I have a motion, please? Somebody? Somebody?
With all your bells and whistles.
I would motion to, pending inspection, to grant a variance for that.
How can we do that?
You can condition an approval
Okay,
of a variance.
okay. Conditional approval. Okay.
Is there
At-
paying back fine? Is there any fines on that or anything?
Whatever,
or-
whatever the fine is for the back permit, not pulling a permit to do the work, yes, all
And,
that. should be-
yeah, and the cost of the inspection and, yeah.
But I'm loath to make him tear that off as long as we go back and, again, the fines for the non-pulled permits and so forth,
Fines and the permitting fees.
and inspection, of course.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Oh, I thought you to say,
I can't.
okay.
Okay, any other discussion?
On the
Hearing-
fence.
No, this is the
we're on
roof
the
over
roof.
the,
Crossing
I'm
between the
sorry,
garage
yeah,
and the house.
You're right, you're right, gotcha.
yep, okay, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous, perfect, okay. Now for the tough one,
Drum roll.
the shed. I need a motion.
Well, the question is the rear setback, which
Yes.
also is the shed.
Yes, yes, well, okay, let's word it that way then. I need a motion on the rear setback.
I'll put out a motion that the shed be removed.
Well, or we need the,
I think we,
okay.
It's about the
Because of
variance,
the-
primarily about the setbacks.
Yeah, it's the
Phrase
setback.
it correctly, right? So-
Yeah, this is a sticky one, and it should be, it should be worded
so, you know.
properly.
Deny the request for a variance to reduce the minimum rear yard setback from 20 feet to 3 feet.
Perfect.
Well said.
I don't remember what I said.
No.
I hope that somebody
well
wrote that down?
stated. It was
Okay,
well
good.
stated.
The beauty of being on video.
And I'm sorry, I keep forgetting your name.
Alan.
No, not,
Joe.
Joe. Joe's point too is we've got to be cognizant of, there was never a variance requested for the garage.
Because they didn't need
Yeah, they didn't
one.
need one though, because
They
the
didn't need one because
garage,
it was
It was
within
not
the,
attached.
Wait a minute.
correct.
But now it's attached, and now we're granting the variance for the attachment, which means there now needs to be a variance for the garage.
'Cause he's over the
You were
25
friendly
feet.
and-
Right,
Yes.
you were friendly.
so.
What I was trying to get at
Right.
earlier. I
Okay,
wasn't
okay.
trying to,
This is why this is so complex. So there didn't need to be a variance when it wasn't attached. Now that we're approving a variance to attach it, there needs to be a variance for it, for that abatement. So,
Yep.
We
Well,
can give-
Come on, Ben.
You can always, I mean, you could always look at the additions that were put on to the rear of that now attached garage, and you can make, you know, you could say, make a motion to approve a rear yard setback variance for the distance between
the end point of the garage.
the end point of the
Yes.
There we go.
existing
Okay, but
attached
we'll make that
garage.
into
Right, so
a
you know what I'm
friendly
saying?
amendment.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
add it
So
into a
based
friendly-
on
we
the-
have his-
End point of the garage, grant a variance for that. Big part? As it existed previous to the shed.
Okay,
The shed should therefore be moved possibly back to the original location, which seems feasible because it looks like there's
Well-
enough,
Remember, the shed got bigger
You
too,
know, if
and got
there-
attached.
but there's 3 cars
I know,
right
I
If-
know. And then
He
what's
didn't
sad
have
is
to
where
build a
we put
4-car garage. He built a 2-car garage. I'm sorry. It could have just been like everybody else. You have a 2-car garage, and that's the end of it. And then he would have had plenty of room for all his stuff. But this thing has morphed.
this is a very complex issue as we're finding out. You know, we get great phraseology from Alan over here, and now we've got to change it all.
No, just
Because of
a
my-
friendly amendment.
no, we'll just, so we've got here, we've got to deny the rear variance forgot what you said. So deny the rear variance of 21.2 feet, or 21 feet, 2 inches. And then we'll add a friendly amendment well, actually, let's do this. Can I get a second on the motion, please?
Which motion are we on?
Which
The
motion?
motion to deny the rear variance of 21.2 feet.
I'll motion that.
I'll second.
Okay. Now, we can add a friendly amendment to, should we word this, that
The existing
the,
garage.
the existing garage
Prior to the shed addition.
prior to the shed addition is,
I guess you're approving the rear yard setback variance based on the location of the existing attached garage.
Yes.
Prior to additions.
yes, okay.
What he said.
So we're adding a friendly amendment that we approve the variance of the existing garage, right?
Right.
As the variance of where the existing garage.
Previously existing garage.
Correct, yes, okay. Okay, so we got that. Okay, discussion. All in favor?
Friendly amendment has to be accepted.
Oh, you're right, I'm sorry. Can I get a motion on the friendly amendment?
Just has to be accepted.
Oh, accepted? Sorry. Elaine, do you accept the friendly amendment?
Yes.
Okay. She accepts that? Okay, so now we vote, right? Yes.
May I ask one question? I just want to make sure I'm understanding it, because, so, we're going from the end of the garage.
Yes.
Okay. Thank
That
you.
is that's the new variance.
Thank you.
The new setback, I should say. Okay, she accepts it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None? Okay. So, to recap, we have denied the motion of an 8-foot fence that needs to come back down to 6 feet. Okay, we have conditionally approved the roof connection. It has to be inspected.
I just got a text message regarding this. What's going on here? I just got a nasty text message from a bunch of people. I don't know who, but somehow they got my number, and it states that, is that you on town hall meeting? We do know it's 8 feet. It's a nice fence. Stop it, you're ridiculous. You're so crotchety. He is a good neighbor. This is so shitty.
Okay.
So that just came to my phone.
Wish I got that.
I'd like to know who got my number.
I don't know.
Our numbers should not be public knowledge
No.
unless you give them out, so.
No.
Interesting.
It's all right, I'm gonna run him over with my wheelchair if anybody.
Okay, all right,
I
so,
think we need to wrap this up and get off the record.
Yeah.
yeah, I agree. Okay,
We're going off the rails.
so we're good, okay.
We're off the
We're
rails.
closing this.
Okay.
We're closed.
Crazy question. Do we have to do something with the 20%? That there's the maximum building coverage required.
Wasn't that discussed earlier?
I'm just wondering, it's like, that was one of the,
Can I get a motion on the maximum building coverage of a variance of 6.45%, please? Just let it go.
I would just throw
Go
in,
ahead, Ben.
throw in real quick, if you're conditionally approving the connection, that would be part of that additional building coverage as well.
Okay, so it falls into that.
But that's not all of that.
right, if the shed goes away,
He might be conforming then, right?
Yeah, maybe, I don't know. I mean, that would have to be a new coverage calculation done on the
Be
survey.
combined with the variance we grant from the end of the pre-existing garage.
Yeah, and then it would have to add in also that section that's undercover between the house and the garage. So,
Can I throw one more wrench in that I didn't think about? We don't generally locate solar panels because that's not part of the survey.
yeah, I don't, yeah, no, don't even worry about that.
But I was wondering if they're going over where that shed is. I didn't see any of the pictures.
No,
No.
in the pictures, they're not at all.
Nope, nope, nope.
Thanks for your patience.
Can we leave that open until we get a updated building coverage percentage?
Who calculate,
Well, that would have to be done by the applicant surveyor.
I could try to do it right now. All it is taking the 392.4, which is the shed on the back, subtracting that from the whole square footage, and then dividing it into the,
go for it.
All right,
Go for it.
the math.
Okay, we'll let him do his thing. We're gonna move on to new business, so we're gonna leave this open for the moment, okay? Instead of us holding up anymore, let's move on to new business while he's doing his calculations. Hearing none on, well, this would have been new business. Old business? None. Any other business? None. Okay, can I get a motion to approve actions taken in minutes of October 17th, 2023, February 27th of 2024, March 19th of 2024?
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Perfect. Okay. Do you have anything for us, Ben, while he's doing his calculations?
No, enforcement's pretty status quo.
Okay.
It's ramped up in the last, I would say, couple weeks.
Oh, I'm sure, I'm sure.
Spring and summer.
Yeah, all of the, because I have noticed a few yards that are quite high.
Mo May.
Yeah.
It's a movement, no Mo May for,
Well, it's been no mo April, too.
well, that's another conversation.
It's called Lazy Spring.
Thank
It's,
you. Yeah, one of them is on Dividend, the house that caught fire back in, yeah,
Is anybody living there now?
no,
Yeah,
it's
so-
condemned. But still, he's responsible to mow the lawn and to keep it. It's up there, it's over a foot now.
Okay.
Yeah, it's right across the street from the cemetery.
Question
Okay.
for staff. The violation notices that we got, were there any fines that were levied and paid?
No, because this is just a notice of violation. It would
Okay.
then have to go to a citation and
Okay,
then
okay,
that,
okay,
to go that way, yeah. This was, like, the variance application, my understanding was a form of attempting to correct
Okay, okay,
before
okay.
going that route.
So, we all saw what happened here. Who's going to enforce these decisions
Staff,
that we've made? You?
Staff, yes.
staff does, yes,
Big staff.
yes. One other lawn, two other I've seen. Our friend on New Britain Avenue, 533. He's up there too on his lawn. And more vehicles collecting in the front yard. Okay, the last one is the corner of Kobe and New Britain Ave. It's an abandoned house that, again, had a fire in it.
Oh, yeah, I know that one.
Yeah, and I think, yeah, it's getting, there's,
Can't even see the house anymore.
yeah, but there's, what you can see, there's like couches out, thrown out in the yard, the grass is getting high, so just those three, please,
Okay.
okay? And how we doing?
Good. I'm just writing my notes, so I don't forget what I calculated.
Sure.
It's now 23%, which is still 3% over. Instead of the 20.
I'm fine with that.
I'm fine.
Want to approve it?
Somebody give me a motion, please.
I'll make a motion to approve a 23%, conditional 23%.
I would just let it be known which portions you're.
Right.
So it's not just an overall 23%.
Right.
That's the pre-existing garage structure.
Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah.
yeah. So, okay, so, is it 23 and some fractions, or is it 23 straight?
We can just do approximately 23%.
It was 22.9
Okay,
Yeah.
20, okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, so, all right, so I would like to have a motion to allow a 23% building coverage for this lot.
Okay,
And that would be minus the shed.
okay. Second?
Seconded.
Okay, discussion on the amendment?
Is that the right verbiage to allow maximum 23%
Based on the original.
building
structure.
coverage?
Yeah,
Based on,
the
okay.
original. So we could add a friendly amendment saying that 23% is based on the original square footage prior to shed. Okay, do you agree with the friendly amendment?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so the friendly amendment is the square footage, the percentage, the maximum coverage, building coverage prior to the addition of the shed. Okay? Okay, discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nope, okay, that passes. Okay, one
Motion,
last thing,
okay.
motion to adjourn, please.
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned, thank you.